actually, I go back to the beginning one. Simple one, the diagram is what you need is this flow that comes down the hill. And if this is a southerly facing ridge, what tends to happen is the thermals build up on this southerly facing ridge, and it fills up with hot air until, as far as the upper wind's concerned, because you get a reverse flow, or it's trying to reverse flow, it may not actually reverse flow, but it may just build up a big bubble here, is that downslope, in effect, disappears as far as the upper wind is concerned, because it fills up with convective oil air that keeps breaking off and joining that flow, so it doesn't come down into the valley. And that's why in the summer at Lord's Seat we don't get the wave, unless you come out really early before the thermals start on Kinder, or you stay until dusk and fly the wave down. That's why the wave is more reliable and predictable in the winter than it is in the summer, because that convection kills it off. But in a westerly wind, wave is more common in the summer than it is in a northerly, because the lee slope is cold, facing east. So you can get wave all through the summer on Weatherfell, because the lee slope's cold, encouraging the air to come down into the valley. So what makes Lord's Seat a brilliant thermal site in the summer? Because here you are on Lord's Seat, the thermals are already formed going past the hill, because they've come off lee slope there, facing the sun, all that rock is also what kills off the wave, which also makes thermals better. Okay, I will show a short film before we stop and the break. Because the lift is generated by the ground in one spot, is you sort of fly around and then mark a spot on the ground where the lift is strongest, and try and keep stationary over that. I'm usually on a hang glider, you're drifting up and down a bit because you can't quite stop. So now I'm spotting the position. Keep looking around occasionally. In my movies I never seem to look around. So there it's starting to really go. And then you try to get into the steady drone of the vario and the absolute smoothness. When you get that, you know you're in it proper. So about 4,000 a turn downwind. That's 4,000 above sea, so it's not brilliantly high. But the lift just dropped off at that point. So I'm expecting now, by going straight over the back, to hit the next climb. Now you can go through it very quick if you're not careful, because you go downwind. It doesn't drift with the wind, so you've got to recognise it and turn back and have a search around as soon as you get out of the sink. Now I found going off the top, you get initially sink, that then goes back to just normal air, and then you get the lift. Now, if you're near the top, then it's you're unlikely to get the very strong sink. But if you get blown backwards through the wave while it's still going up, you can expect much stronger sink.
I think it happened to me it was picking up westerly at Manitoba, so I've gone round the corner. I got some, this was a paraglider, I got some beautiful bit right out to the middle of the valley, and then it's 680 foot a minute sink.
You might have gone out the front of it.
That's what I'm thinking. I wasn't looking at it.
No.
I wasn't expecting it.
But I found that if you can stay on the front of the climb, the lift, until it diminishes, so you're hardly landing at all when you've got zero, without having, if you're having to go very fast and increasing your sink rate, and then you reach this equilibrium of you can go up and backwards or down and forwards, then you're not at the top of the wave. But if I'm pretty much in sync at the top without having to pull on, and it stops to zero, I find turning over the back, I don't really get any, I really hammered down. But if you're only halfway up, you're going to hit the really strong sink as well. Because if you think about it, it's symmetrical. So the light lift that you're leaving at the front of the wave is light sink at the back of the wave. But if you go turn downwind when you're in the strong lift, you're going to hit the strong sink. And it could get really interesting. So, yeah, I got to 6,000 at the top knee. Top knee is usually very good, because that's the steepest bit easterly and it's much longer. And if it's wave from Bradwell to Stanage to top knee, it's the third wave in time with the ground. So around that tunnel entrance at top knee, so looking Sheffield, that's, I've had, every time I've got there, used waves to get there, it's been very good. I was reading a hang glider over here, and some walkers were going past, and they came out with they were saying, remember the Only Fools and Horses, where he said, is that the mobile phone? Is that the mobile phone, Rodney? And Rodney said, we haven't got a mobile phone. So I don't know, it's the sound works, and then you get back at them. They were walking fast talking about it. So you can see how windy it is there, how pulled I am, and going forwards, not very far there. I was the first off. But this day, it did drop off a little, I think. Rob was out. And Tim Swate was flying his first glider out of school, no problem, in these conditions. So I got up a bit and then went over the back, basically, because it looked better over the back. So, and the climb started near the wanted end, and then I had to drop back further. So, that street looks just like Thermal Street, isn't it? But it's crosswind. That's what I've seen when I've been in the not very good wave at North Sea. Basically, the cloud looked a bit too far forwards. I tried going forwards. I got up a bit. I've gone out into the valley and not connected and sunk down again. And I had to go up towards Flamtor as well. And I was getting about 1,000 above the top, and no more. And this was about beckoning to me, so I just took a plunge over the back.
So is that the top of the wave where that cloud is then?
This is the climbing edge here. So I hit the first part of the climb. It went to lift quite a long way upwind of that. And I started essing about, you might have seen on the animation. And then I dropped back a bit further, and a bit further towards the cloud, and it kept stronger and stronger. Until it turned into good climb. So that's the bar that's over Lord Sea, and it was sort of not really in phase with the hills. So here we are, this is wanted in there. So there I am, beating up and down in the small area where I found it. So the technique is stick with the bit you've got and then gradually explore. So you try and stay in that bit where you've found the tool, and then eventually you map it out. Always nose running. That's essential. You know, get in the way without your nose running. So I'm actually getting over towards the TMA here. This is the bypass for Chapel. And the actual TMA line is beyond that. It's surprising how far you can go. Here's the TMA line. And there we go. That's the So there I managed to get up to sort of 4,000, 4,500, which is the limit. 4.5. And then I was wondering where to go. And what I actually did was I pushed upwind again and got onto what was another bar in front, but I was still behind North Sea, so I'm not sure how that pattern really worked out. But I had to do this glide upwind. The wind was northeast, and I was a diagonal upwind by here, above the cloud. But I had to jump this sort of cloud in front. You can see on the film minute here. So this is the classic. These are the money shots, really. So I'm trying to get over there because that's a good channel there. And it's probably coming down here and up there. And I've climbed on the one that's behind me. And it's a sort of funny halfway system. It's not a full wavelength to get into there. So that's just going down there and up there. And see, just about hear the voice with the camera turned around this way doesn't listen so much. I'm trying to. I don't think I could get over this, but I thought I'd have a go. And I'm trying to. I didn't know whether they could hear me. There's two guys ridge sawing who were getting up a bit. I was trying to encourage them to come over the back, but it's so much better just over the back near Sparrow Pit.
So that edge, what's coming up, is that where you got lift there?
Yeah, it's not lift here, but it will be when
No, the one on the back there.
So I'm pulling on through the sink. And then you'll hear when I get really sad. Get up to about 90 phase, something like that. Although it looks like light out, it wasn't really. It was worse than really. And then we come out onto the front, near this area. So I'm now getting forwards into the steeper area, starting right lift as the angle of the wind, as I'm coming over, the angle of the wind's getting steeper as I come onto the front of the cloud. The top of the cloud is very shallow and a lot of headwind. So that's 500 feet on that maneuver. On the airspace going to go to 4,000 to get onto the front of the cloud again. And this now is good. You can see I can go along that motorway down towards in and past Tideswell. But the waves is slightly off 90 degrees, so all the way down here I've got a bit of a tailwind. It's a slight tailwind right along it, so it's going to be a bit more difficult to come back, which becomes a concern. You can see here, at some points, there's cloud living across the gap, which is the other thing to watch out for. Once you're up on the wave, is it can get more moist, just an area of more moist air comes through, and it can fill in across the gap.
In about 20 seconds. In about 20 seconds, it suddenly fills in.
Well, it's helped to have a flat glide angle and be able to go at 100 kilometers an hour. I know this word. But so there's a bit that's lived across, you see. So what they say is, they say when you come jumping downwind and upwind, you should follow that line. Is that there will be less sink. Because if there was a lot of sink, it would destroy the cloud in between. So here I am on the tides one now, which is where I live. So I got to, I think, 6,500 for this. Right. Tides was pretty much on the line. I've flown pretty much down the line, just on the high side of it. 4.5, 6.5, isn't it? 5.5, 4.5, 5.5, but then it goes to 6.5. So after this, I get into the 6.5 airspace. So I actually had to pull in and go faster because I'm at 5.5.
You're gonna get about 3.5
I did put it on the show. So what happened was it started to fill in quite a lot. So I just set off back and I found that I had to dive first to get under the airspace limit because it was at 6.5 over here. And I got back no problem, just in a straight line. There was one bit where I had to go round a bit of cloud that stuck out. And I was absolutely jumping for joy when I got back. And Rob will be witness to it. But this was, I'd just come back from the World Championships in Mexico where we've gone every day and we get